guys, Andrew here with Dad Verb. I am not a baby sleep expert, but plenty of people have hit me up in different comments and DMs asking, hey, how did you sleep train your kids? And to be honest with you, I have a hard time answering that because we kind of just winged it, right? We didn't really know what we were doing right. We didn't really know what we were doing wrong. And it seems like there's like 1,000 different approaches when it comes to baby sleep training because every baby is different, right? So in this video, we're gonna be talking to Kaley Medina, who's helped thousands of families get their babies to fall asleep easily, sleep throughout the night, and then get long naps during the day. She's here to give me and you 5 tips to get a full night of sleep. But first, Kaley, when can you actually even start sleep training?
So we can start sleep training as early as about 15 weeks old. This is when babies are going to be developmentally ready to begin consolidating their sleep and learn these independent sleep skills.
So keep that in mind as we roll into her 5 tips. And if you do like what she has for you, I'm actually building out a course for her right now. We're developing this together to help new babies get some good sleep. So if you want to learn more about pre-orders for that course, check out the link in the description. Kaley, lead us off with tip number 1.
So tip number 1 is to be avoiding overtiredness. Overtiredness is really just a baby's worst enemy when it comes to sleep. Because what happens when a baby gets overtired, it's actually pretty counterintuitive what happens. It might start to look like they're getting that second wind or even becoming a little bit hyperactive. But that overtiredness is really going to make it a lot more challenging for your baby to fall asleep, and it's going to lead to a much more restless sleep too. So you're probably going to be seeing more nighttime wakings and shorter naps as a result. So really by putting your baby down before they get overtired, that's how you're going to give them that best window of opportunity to fall asleep while working on developing these great new independent sleep skills. And the amount of awake time that your baby should be having, it differs by age range. So take a look at the chart that we have to determine how long your baby should be awake for.
And this is a mistake that I made, and I think a lot of people make this wrong assumption that newborns are like us, where if you keep them up all day, they're gonna sleep all night. And that's actually not the case with newborns. A good one-liner, a good rule of thumb is sleep begets sleep, which is, it's backwards. It's counterintuitive to how we operate, but it is definitely a concept to embrace.
So my second tip is to be encouraging full feeds during the daytime. This is a really great way to make sure that your baby is not having any kind of association between feeding and sleeping, and making sure that they're not just snacking throughout the day, but really getting a full feed every time that they're eating. And the best way to do this is to be following an eat, play, sleep schedule throughout the day. So rather than feeding them right before they go down for a nap when they're getting more groggy and more drowsy, I'd like for you to start to feed them when they first wake up from their nap, about 5 or 10 minutes. And that's how you're really going to be breaking that association between feeding and sleeping. So creating an early bedtime is really great for the entire family. One, it's great for your baby because you're making sure that they're not getting overtired, and their body's natural circadian rhythm is just going to have them ready for sleep sometime around the hours of 6:30 and 8 o'clock. It's also great for us as parents because it gives us that little bit of time back in the evenings to be able to do those things that you were able to do before becoming a parent. Getting to read those books at night and just having that time to bond with your partner.
I'm sorry to keep butting in, but I do want to say that when we transitioned our baby from bassinet to crib, and we formed this routine where the baby was out of our room, we felt a huge relief in our lives, and we kind of got, our relationship back a little bit, our lives back a little bit. Our days and nights revolved around baby all day, and it was a little bit different for us because our kids had such bad colic, and we were mentally drained every single day. And getting our nights back did a huge number for us mentally. We were able to reconnect and watch our shows again without the fear of waking up the baby. So that transition in baby sleep had a positive net impact for our marriage. And I never thought baby sleep and my relationship with my wife had any sort of correlation, but it did. We waited around 5-6 months with our first to kind of do any sort of sleep training or transition. Probably gonna move that up a little bit earlier with baby number 3. I'll stop talking. I'm gonna kick it back to Kaley for tips 4 and 5.
My 4th tip is to create a predictable bedtime routine. And this does not have to be too long. Somewhere between 30 to 40 minutes is an ideal bedtime. Now with that routine, you can start it off with a bath, get your child dressed into their pajamas, into their sleep sack. After that, you can give them one final feed for the night to make sure that their tummy is nice and full before going down. What I like to do after the bedtime feed is to add a few more activities just to make sure we're really breaking any kind of association between feeding and sleeping, and your baby's able to go down into the crib wide awake. So what I like to do after the feed is to just pull out a book or two and read them a story. Or you can sing a few songs, do some prayers. After that, just walk them around the room, say night-night, and then put them down into the crib wide awake.
So when I hear that, logically in my head, it doesn't make any sense, because the first thing that's gonna happen when you put the baby down is they're just gonna cry. So, when I was first talking to Kaley, I had to have her explain it to me a little bit more, help me understand this. And her approach isn't the cry it out method. It's a much more gentle parenting approach where the parent starts in the nursery and they kind of gradually work themselves out of it. And when I first heard that, I was like, that's a little sus. I'm not gonna be in the nursery. But after really getting to know her and understand her method, I was like, okay, I can get behind this, because initially with our first two kids, we did a variation of what you're gonna find on YouTube, which is, there's so many different ones. There's extinction, which is just cry it out, right? There's the Verb method, there's the chair method, there's the pick up, put down, shush pat method. I mean, there's so many different approaches, and they're not right or wrong. They're just different, right? And you can find success in any one of those, really. It kind of just depends on your baby. But just to give you a little bit of clarification, that is Kaley's method. She is not cried out. She has a much more gentle approach. So just wanted to arm you with that knowledge as well. Let's move on to the final tip.
My last tip is really the most important. If you think about the reason why your child is likely struggling to fall asleep, or they're waking up frequently throughout the night, it's because of how they're going down to sleep. If you're doing anything that puts them to sleep, like rocking them to sleep, feeding them to sleep, bouncing them, anything like that, what happens is that they fall asleep in your arms. You do that slow transfer down into the crib. They might sleep 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour or so. And what's going to happen is they're going to come to a gap in their sleep cycles. And when they come to that brief waking, they're more fully going to start to wake up, because they're going to realize that they're not in the same place where they fell asleep. So they're not in your arms anymore, they're not being fed, and now they have a job to do. And that job is to more fully wake up and start to cry out for you to come and assist them back into sleep. Because at this point, that's really the only strategy that they've known. They basically need something from somebody in order to fall asleep. So by breaking these old ways of sleeping and starting to introduce these new, healthy, independent sleep skills, that's how you're going to be able to have your baby fall asleep so much more peacefully at bedtime and really begin consolidating their sleep at night.
So hopefully you were able to get some insights there. Now every baby is different, every parent has a different style. So, tell me your experiences, tell me your thoughts about sleep training and your process. In the next few months, when our newborn is ready for it, we're gonna be working with Kaley on her method, and I'll be vlogging the whole sleep training experience for the sleep course, because I think it'll be insightful for new parents out there to see a real person, a real family going through this transition. So, if you do have any questions, don't ask me, ask her. She's the expert. I'll have all of her information in the description notes of this video, so please reach out to her, feel free. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button down there. It looks like a thumbs up. For more videos and reviews for new parents, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching this video, and come back for the next one. God bless. Later.